Cheer! Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. How are you all? Are you all having a lovely, I think this is going up on Sunday, we'll say Sunday. Today I'm going to be going through the books that I'm planning on reading in the month of November. Now also in the month of November will be Autumn Cozy Reading Night. So Autumn Cozy Reading Night is taking place on Friday the 2nd of November. That's the Friday that is coming up now. Between the hours of 7 PM and 10 PM, it'll be GMT time because the clocks would have gone back. Oh, lovely. Bit of dark and coziness in the evening. So I'll also be doing a TBR at some point, Friday, for Autumn Cozy Reading Night. So this is the first of two TBRs that are going to be going up in the space of 2 weeks. Oh, Minnie's just come out from behind the curtains and she always looks so cute. She won't be up here though. She doesn't like to cuddle me. You cuddle? No, she's stretching. So, the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of November, as well as November being the month that Autumn Cozy Reading Night is, it is also a non-fiction November, which I believe, after watching Olive's video, is in its 4th year, which is fantastic. So, non-fiction November is a month where you are encouraged to pick up more non-fiction than you ordinarily would. There are prompts and buzzwords that you can link books to. It's very casual and I've chosen to ignore those buzzwords and just read quite a lot of non-fiction, which I will go into towards the end of the video. So I'm just going to work through the books that I'm planning on reading. The first one is a non-fiction, is a fiction book, and it's one I'll be reading for my book club at work, and it is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, which I have never read, and I can't believe it. And also, when at the end of last month I said, oh, what book have we got next month? Oh, Catcher in the Rye. They said, oh, do you know what it's about? I said, I have no idea. I had no idea what this is about. Now, I've had a little look into it, but I'm quite keen on going into a classic not knowing anything about it, a modern classic not knowing anything about it, but I believe it's a coming-of-age story. Now, there is nothing on this book that will tell me anything about it, nor at the front or the back. So looking forward to reading that and seeing what I think of it. I haven't read any sort of modern classics for a long time. I have, before we get into the non-fiction, let's do the fiction that I'm going to be reading first. And I have the first one is one that is actually out in November. I think it's out on the 4th of November. It is 5 Days of Fog by Anna Freeman. Anna Freeman is the author of The Fair Fight. She writes historical fiction. This sounds like it's going to be bloody brilliant. I got sent the proof earlier this year and I've been looking forward to reading it, and I feel like this is a good time of the year to read it. This is set in post-war London and it follows a female gang which is falling apart, and it's set in 1952 and it follows Florrie Palmer and her decisions whether or not she's going to stay with the female gang that she's with called the Cutters, or leave it all behind to make a safer, duller life with the man she loves. I am excited about this and I cannot wait to read it, so that's really, really good. I don't know what the front cover's going to look like. This is what the proof looks like. It's very, very interesting little picture there with a man and a woman in some fog. So yeah, so the next two are ones that I've previously had on TBRs and I'm desperate to read them, and I feel like this is a good time of year to be reading both of them. The first one is The Butcher's Hook by Janet Ellis. I think I've had this on a TBR like 2 or 3 times in my lifetime and never got round to reading it. This is in the summer. Should I be reading this in the summer? We'll give it a go. I want it read. I want to read it. 1763. Maybe I'll leave this till the summer. I think I'm going to read this till the summer. Live TBR changing. I'm going to leave that till the summer. But this one is definitely set in the winter or the autumn. The winter. And that's A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dubois. This is a YA book translated from French following a character called Ophelia, who is, she's got 2 special gifts. She's able to travel through mirrors and she is able to read the past of objects when holding them. I was sent this by the publisher. Very, very excited to have a finished copy of this, and I've been meaning to read it and was supposed to read it in September but didn't get round to it. And now I feel like it is actually hopefully going to be a little bit colder in November, because it's October, the end of October at the moment, and it's 20, like it's been 18 degrees today. 20 was a bit exaggerated, but it was 20 degrees recently. It's been really, really warm, so hopefully in November it will cool down quite a lot in time for me to read a book that is entitled A Winter's Promise. Very much looking forward to that. It promises much. Does it? I don't know. The next two are books that I am going to be reading because Mercedes and I, at the end of the month, are going to Cambridge Literary Festival. Exciting, I know. Is the light bad in here? Maybe not. We are going to see a few talks, and one of them we're going to see is a talk that has Horatio Clare there, and also Melissa Harrison, talking about nature writing. So this is a non-fiction book. This is a winter journal by Horatio Clare. I'm actually currently reading a book of Horatio Clare's, Icebreaker, which is, I mean, I don't need to go into about that. You can hear about that in my wrap up. This is a winter journal, and it says, I mean, listen to this. As November stubs out the glow of autumn and the days tighten into shorter hours, winter's occupation begins. Could I be reading this at more of a perfect time? I think not. So that is non-fiction. The last bit of fiction I've got before I get on to all non-fiction is the other person who will be on the panel with Horatio Clare, and that is Melissa, don't want to say Marissa, Melissa Harrison. This is set in the autumn of 1933, and it's the most beautiful autumn that Edie Mather can remember, although the Great War still casts its shadow over the fields and villages around her beloved home, Witch Farm. It says here, Constant Fitzallen arrives from London to document fading rural traditions and beliefs. For Edie, who must soon face the unsettling pressures of adulthood, the glamorous and worldly outsider appears to be a godsend, but there is more to the older woman than meets the eye. As harvest time approaches and pressures mount on the entire community, Edie must find a way to trust her instincts and save herself from disaster. So yeah, so I've got to have those two read by the last weekend in November. So looking forward to reading both of those. Oh, I'm trying to keep them in some sort of like fiction, non-fiction order. But who knows if I'm going to be able to do it. I feel like it's a bit shady in here. It's because the sun's just going down. Right, the next lot are all non-fiction, and this is all for non-fiction November. So the first one is one that I started reading in non-fiction November last year and didn't finish. This is how far I got. I mean, I almost got to the end and I was really enjoying it. So I don't know, well, I do know why I stopped. It's because I got that far and then December started, and in December I like to exclusively read Christmas books. So I didn't get a chance to read the end of this. But this is Love Nina by Nina Steeb, and this is her diary entries of her in the 80s when she was looking after, she was living in London, being a nanny for a very particular and peculiar family. This family lived across the road from Alan Bennett, and having watched the film of The Lady in the Van earlier this year, you actually see this family depicted in the film. So I'm very much looking forward to watching it, to reading it. There's also a television series which has got Helena Bonham Carter in it, which I may well come to as well because I've heard very good things about that. That sun is just bright and wonderful. I feel like it's just only on my face. It's really, really bright. So I will definitely be reading this and definitely be finishing this. I'm going to give it a really good go. The next one is a book that I was sent earlier this year, and it is a sort of one of these books that's about many women. This is Brazen, Rebel Ladies Who Rocked the World by Penelope Baggio. Baggio, yeah. Oh God, it's that sun. This hasn't happened for ages. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry on. It really is blinding. You can actually see, that's my camera. That is my camera. Do I continue? Maybe I'll go and close the blinds. Oh, that's better, isn't it? I was so blinded by that. So as I was saying, this is Rebel Ladies Brazen. So this is about a series of women in history and things that they did that were amazing in history. I really like this. This is told through sort of comic books, which I hadn't seen before in one of these books, and the illustrations and everything look amazing. So I've just opened it. So the first person that I've opened it to is Tove Jansson, who is the maker, the writer and illustrator of the Moomins, and there is a sort of graphic novel bit about her life. So yeah, that's probably something that I will dip into throughout the month. This is three books that I've carried over from this month. The first one is Trainwreck by Sadie Doyle. Now I really want to read this. I am not going to have this read by the end of October because the end of October is a mere matter of days away. This is the book that the Feminist Orchestra Book Club were reading for their book club pick for September, October. Now I'm not going to have it read, but I really want to read it because every time I hear someone talk about it, particularly Jean and Lauren, I'm like, bloody hell, that sounds really good. Bloody hell, you own that. Pick it up and read it. So I will read that in November. And a book that I am buddy reading with my very dear friend Simon, which I am also going to be discussing in my online book club, is Educated by Tara Westover. And this follows Tara, who grew up preparing for the end of days. She had her father, a very radical father with very radical beliefs, and a violent brother, and she decided to educate herself. I've heard that the audiobook's very good at this, but I actually own the book and I wanted to get delved into it. So Simon and I think we're going to start reading this at the beginning of November, which is good. And then the last one is another graphic novel type thing, which is Women in Battle by Marta Breen and Jenny Jordal, and I was sent this by the publisher. I'm very excited to read this, and this works its way through history. Very, very relevant, actually. It comes up to the Time's Up movement, so it is very, very up to date. So yeah. So that's the last book that I'll be reading. So those are the books that I'm planning on reading in the month of November. What are you guys planning on reading in the month of November? Are you going to be taking part in Nonfiction November? Would love to hear some of your non-fic picks. And I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!